matter of principle. Well, former Baptist pastor, Clinton Chisholm. It's actually very, very good. It's just, he takes probably every topic that has been in the media.
Did he speak about cult?
He doesn't speak about it in here, but I know that he does from time to time speak about cults, and he delves into the issue, not practices, but talks about it as from an expert point of view.
Did you know about the case they had with that lady from the university, that young lady from the university, and her mother didn't know where she went, and then when she found out, she heard she was in a cult somewhere in the country?
No, you remember I've been traveling in a site. Yeah.
Well, I knew somebody who spoke with her, trying to get her for my program, you know, and the lady said no, because one, she didn't know how her daughter would have to deal with it afterwards, and two, she was afraid.
But when you talk about cult, do we have cults in Jamaica? Well, certainly what...
Oh, yes.
What I know of what a cult is.
Oh, yes. Well, you know, there's a lot of people that will tell you there's a lot of churches here that they think
Yeah, because I thought
cults.
Jamaica was a highly predominant and full of Christian society, quote unquote.
Yeah, but we're full
more
of
churches
everything.
per square mile. So where would we get the space to even allow a cult?
Well, we're going to have the experts and people who have been in a cult come on this program today and explain further to us.
Okay.
Because I really, like yourself, I really did not understand that this is something that it was, you know, well, I get it all.
Okay. Where do you want to sit today?
I sit right there.
All right.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, Carlene.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Have a seat. Hi, welcome.
How are you?
Mr.
How are you?
Smith.
Hi. Good to see you. Come have a seat. Hi. Good to meet you. Come have a seat. Welcome to our voices. Are you going to offer the bishop something to drink?
Yes. Would you like something to drink?
Sure.
Okay, here, Mr. Smith. And Bishop.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, you're Bishop Joseph. Okay. Where are you from?
Originally from Nigeria.
Okay. And Mr. Smith, where are you from?
I'm originally from St. James.
Okay.
Jamaica.
But you're Jamaican?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, Carlene was giving me an interesting story. I've been traveling, and Carlene was telling me about a lady. Carlene, you tell the story.
Well, I heard and read of this woman whose daughter was said to have gone off to a cult somewhere in the country. And she didn't hear from her child, so she got worried. And when she found out that she was in a cult, she tried to get her back. However, I don't really know what happened because I was also not here to follow up on it. But when we got in touch with her, she said she wouldn't come. One, she was trying to protect her daughter, and two, she was afraid. Yeah. Okay. And I'm saying, afraid of what? So I'm going to ask you, Mr. Smith, what is a cult?
Well, I actually met with the lady 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I met with the lady and her daughter. They came to see me. And we discussed. I was able to at least find out from the young lady. She's a teenager, I mean, but she knows what she's doing. I really do not think that the group is a cult as it has been rumored. Okay. I really do not think that they have, like the blood thing that they say they have on the news, in the media about blood and all those things. I really don't see it because in terms of my interview with the young lady, she said there was nothing like that. However, I do believe there is a sense of manipulation going on. So we might not precisely say the group is a cult.
What is a cult then?
A cult is a sect or possibly a religious organization, most times, where they use some kind of psychology to manipulate the minds of people in order to indoctrinate them into their belief systems so that they will do exactly what they want them to do. A cult will so much manipulate the individuals in a way that you do not want to do anything else but to follow whatever they're actually teaching you to do. But in the case of the young lady, she wasn't all that manipulated because she said she doesn't want to continue at school, especially because of the course she's doing. She wants to change it, and she needs about a year break, and then switch into another program.
But let me ask you a question. If you're saying that it's a religious indoctrination that is manipulates you to follow their belief,
occult,
how is that different from the traditional churches that exist? I mean, when you become a Christian, just as an example, you have to follow a belief.
Well,
and
a religious cult will tell you what to do, and it's more of a force for you to do it. In the traditional churches or system, they will just tell you, this is what we believe. You may accept, you may not accept.
Were you ever in a cult?
I was in occultic, not cult, in terms of religious cult. Occultism is different.
What's the
from
difference?
A cult. Occultism has to do with supernatural system, where you're actually, in terms of your body, the celestial body, moving into another realm of operation, doing some supernatural things, which is not in terms of doctrines, as cults we focus on.
Explain a little bit more about that to us.
Okay, occultism.
That's OCCULT
right.
versus CULT.
OCC.
Okay.
Right, that's right. In the occultic system, they will get into a supernatural, like your soul comes out of your body. You actually going beyond the realm of ordinary human thing, human operation. So the soul comes out of the body, it goes
to where?
Somewhere. Everywhere they want you to go, it goes, and then it comes back. So you could see the soul, and the body is down, and the soul moves from one realm to the other.
You saw that?
Yeah, several times.
Okay.
Mr. Smith,
I want to know,
Mr.
Smith, your story. Were you in a cult?
Yeah, I was in a cult. It's normally like powers. Powers.
Powers of what?
Most likely evil, to do evil. Evil. People might take it that it's good, but it's evil. So, as Bishop would say, you come out your body, and I could send my soul onto anywhere.
Me?
Yeah.
And tell the soul to do what? Kill me?
Anything.
No, the soul can actually travel straight into your mind.
In your
to
house.
actually see exactly what is in you. Straight down
yeah.
into your mind.
And this is normal?
No, it's not normal.
No.
But it is being practiced.
Is it being practiced in Jamaica?
Yeah.
Everywhere in Jamaica.
Well, it's in Jamaica. I learn it.
And you went to someone to learn it, or someone invited you to the group?
Well,
because they thought you were...
No, mine wasn't like a group. Mine was like a one person. Yeah. So he just see me and said to me that, do I know that I have certain amount of powers that me and him could work together and free some people or kill person.
Some people.
And I said, from I grew up, me used to love this power thing. And he must say, come work with me, man.
Were you paid for your service?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he didn't use it, it was not a religious cult, it was
Occult.
more of a devil worshipping.
Yeah.
So
well,
what are
you see, devil worshipping, like satanic church, is different from what Mr. Smith is saying.
Yeah.
In the satanic church, they actually worship Satan.
Right.
It's as if in a church system.
That's like God, we worship God. Right.
But in the occult, it's not that you are actually worshiping. Indirectly, you are, technically, but it's not as if, like in the satanic church, where you do worship like that. No, but in the occult, it's just a demonstration of power, evil powers.
And
like
one person
with
wants
blood,
to rule.
they can kill. Just like striking their fingers, somebody can die in just a few minutes. It's so real.
And you've seen this?
Yeah, I want to ask Mr. Smith, if, especially you, did you actually see any of this happen?
Yeah. It's a daily basis, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
And I would think, if you don't believe in this, can this still happen to you?
Well, you'd have to be a true Christian.
Okay.
That's the only person it can't really affect, a true Christian.
So thank God then.
Yeah, from the first time that me and that gentleman start working, he said to me that anytime a true Christian come around you, don't try to use no form of powers and him or her.
Why?
Because it can be dangerous to
you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Can be very dangerous. So when a Christian, when a true Christian come around you, he or she have a presence that you can feel.
Tell me I have one, no?
That's why I'm cracking up, because I'm thinking. So let me. Why did you even want to go, apart from you saying you liking the powers? Because this sounds very evil to me, and this sounds like something that I would not even want to. I mean, I'm sitting beside you now, and I know that you've been out of Occult.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling, thank God, but I'm feeling
what
very
made you come out?
No, the first thing is to know why he went there.
Yeah, why did you want to go in there?
Because he said.
What fascinated you about it, and what made you stay?
Yeah.
Well, normally I was doing like trade work. And as I tell you, he just see me and tell me that I have some powers.
And he believed it?
Yeah, I did believe in powers from a long time, growing up. So, by him telling me about these powers, I said, boy, I want to experience it. So, I joined him. When I joined him, he started showing me a few little things first.
Like what?
Like what to use, how to use it, in what form you can do certain things. So he started me with some candles. He started me on candles and parchment papers. Yeah,
what is a parchment paper?
It looks like, go ahead.
It would look like a
grease paper.
Grease paper.
It looks like grease paper.
What is it used for?
Well, people use it, they say they use it for good, but in my case, evil we used to use it. So,
give me an example.
Yeah, for instance, you would come and you say, all right, I want to destroy this table. I would have to cut up like 6 pieces of that piece of paper, and I would have to write down this table on it, certain way on that piece of paper. It's not only writing it down, but it have a form where you have to write it on it. Then I would dig a hole in the ground and put a pot inside that hole. Put water inside it and put the papers inside it with whatsoever work. Like you'd say, boy, I want to mash up this table. So I would write that on it and put it inside the pot with the aisles. It work with aisles, so I would put the aisles inside that pot and build a big fire. Cover it up, throw back the dirt on it, and build a big fire on it. Then we would put like a bottle of Jagan in that fire. The fire that is on the top. The pot is not on top of the fire, you know. The pot is under the ground.
Okay.
So I'd put a dragon inside it. I'll the dragon.
What is a dragon?
Drink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'd put it inside there. So meanwhile the fire keep blazing, the bottle would go off. But you would have to use rum and throw it all over the fire. And he would tell us some things to say around that fire.
And so what would happen?
Then
away from that the table would break?
Yeah, the dragon would burst.
Okay.
And you would smell a scent coming from the fire. After the fire finished burning, in 3 days you take off the cover. The ashes, you scrape it off and take it off. When you look the paper that you put inside the water, it melt, everything melt, every water dry out of the pot. Then after about like any amount of days it would give you for that work, for the table to mash up. Yeah.
And the table would mash up?
Yeah.
But to me, those are some elementary things in occultic work. Those are nothing at all. It's just as if the beginning, when you're starting basic school.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. But in the real sense, in occultic world, a young man came to me just 2 weeks ago who said he killed somebody. He was testing his power. So he tested it on his friend. Jesus. Went there, did it, touching this neck and strike. The friend died just 2 weeks ago. So this thing happened.
Hold on. We're going to take a break. You're watching Our Voices.
We need some prayers.
You really need some prayers.
I'm telling you, don't go. You'll be right back.
Hi, welcome back to Our Voices. We're discussing the occult world and cults in Jamaica and globally. And we have with us Bishop Abigold and Mr. Paul Smith. Bishop used to be in a cult, and now he's reforming Christians.
Right.
And Paul Smith, you just got out of a cult about 3 weeks ago. Carlene, we were discussing with you, were giving a personal story before.
Well, I was just saying that what Mr. Paul Smith said was just a little thing about what occult actually consists, because in the occult world is so evil. One has some regulations where you are not supposed to do few things. Actually, in the occult world, a lot of people always think it's very easy. It is not, because they will tell you, don't do this, don't. I mean, if you are fasting, how long you have to be on fasting. If you actually say you are fasting now and they give you some rules, don't do ABC, and it's 7 days fast. If you break it on the 5th day, you have to start all over. So it's a very, very disciplinary kind of organization. The intention of occultic world, though, it's more of power. You want to seek for power. The first time I saw the demonstration of occult was when I was about 4 or 5 years old, when I saw a man change from a human form to a snake form. In the Western world, it sounds so ridiculous. But that is what we call metamorphic reactions in occultic world. They change from human being. They do it in Haiti. They do it everywhere. Even in Jamaica here, they do it.
Is it like what we call obia?
Yeah.
Right. It's like obia,
yeah.
But I tell you, some of the obia thing seems so little.
Yeah.
But it's very powerful, and they do it everywhere.
So, Bishop, when you saw him change into a snake, I mean, literally?
Literally change. Mm-hmm.
And this was not a magician?
No, it was not a magician. It's something very common in occultic world.
And this was not your mind?
They want to travel from here. They can leave Jamaica and be in London within the next 10 minutes. All they need to do is to just get some enchantments, some incantations. They disappear from the scene, and you see them in London. Those things are easy things in occultic world.
In an occultic world, did you rituals was practiced?
Rituals, blood, sacrifice.
What do you mean sacrifice? Sacrifice of what?
Human,
animals, human.
Oh God!
So it's not just animal.
And did you have to drink blood?
You have to. Mm-hmm.
You must drink blood.
Yeah, you have to drink blood. It's a part of covenant.
Right. What does that signify?
It's a covenant. It's actually renew one's covenant with Satan.
Oh, so the occult is satanic.
Occult is satanic.
Did you know this when you went in?
No. It's since I've come out of it, I really know the real depths of what it is all about.
Okay. And that is why you came out?
Yeah.
What made you decide to leave the occult world?
Well, thank God for Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Amen, God.
And the bishop, what made you leave? And now you're a bishop.
Mm-hmm.
So well, you now understand both worlds.
I didn't have, like Paul Smith, who really chose to leave. I didn't choose to leave. I actually went into a church not to live, but to listen to music and get out of it. And get out of the church. But during the time when the ministry was going on, a strange power came upon me, which was greater than the power that I have. Mr. Smith was saying the other time that in the life of Christians, there is something that surrounds them, quite unusual. In the occult world, you are one. My dad said to me, don't ever touch Christians that can pray, because if you touch them, you are in trouble. The powers in the lives of the Christians is much greater than the power in the occult world, no matter how serious they may be.
So
now,
God is greater than any
God
evil
is greater,
spirit.
and the power came upon me. I just had to surrender every power that I had.
Mm-hmm. But you...
Hold on. What power did you have then? Just an example.
Well, some strange powers, some rings. You can use it to do so many things. I mean, you might be in a vehicle and there is an accident. You disappear from the vehicle. You just find yourself in your house. just by touching one of the fingers. I mean, by touching one of the fingers, so many things can happen. You want to kill somebody. It doesn't take time. You strike something, you point it to them, and they die.
All right. This is all very overwhelming for me. And I will be honest with you, I don't like discussing it because I believe in Christianity and I believe that there are higher powers, and I don't like to even know that there are things out there that exist like this.
I need to know
there is.
I know, yeah. But I have to be honest with you. You speak about a lot of teenagers in Jamaica who are now practicing in this world.
Oh yeah, a lot.
And that scares me.
A lot of
What
teenagers.
are some of the, first of all, how many have you seen? And what are the trademarks of someone who is in the occult world? So if I see a teenager walking on the road,
well, I don't think you necessarily see any mark on them or the forehead.
Right.
Or no, I don't think there is any specific mark.
But behavioral patterns.
You must understand, though, Lisa, that for so many reasons, I think we're also promoting it, even in Jamaica. In our school system, they teach how to do tea reading, they palm reading, right in the curriculum. It is there. And so you're actually bringing the student up to begin to see these things happening. And now they're introducing the book of Harry Potter, which is completely, as far as I'm concerned, a witchcraft book.
Yes, I agree
Harry
with you.
Potter is completely witchcraft. Now, they are using it as part of the literature in some of the schools. So what are we doing? We're actually introducing our children into occult world. And it goes beyond that. There are about 5 schools of witchcrafts in Jamaica now. In St. Anne, in St. Mary, in St. Thomas, school where they train people. And there is a school going on right now in St. Anne where those young teenagers who are very intelligent are being trained how to astral project, how to use some evil powers. They actually send them into people in the drug world. They send them into, to collect money from them. If they don't give them money, it's trouble. They use occultic powers to get all of these things. And so, you know, systematically we're training people into occult world. And that's a problem. Thank God for people like Mr. Paul Smith, who will say, look, I'm tired of this, and I'm coming out of it.
And that's from God answering his prayer.
Right.
Because his soul was still there.
Right. It's happening.
So, the human body looks to me like something normally from appearance. You're saying it's not always this, based on a soul is not in a body.
Well, the human body consists of the body, the soul, and the spirit.
Right.
The body is the flesh.
Right.
That you can manipulate. You can't manipulate the spirit because it is that which God breathed into human. And the Bible says, and man become a living soul. But the soul of man can be manipulated. You can decide what you want to do with your soul. And so you can travel with it. You can do whatever you want with it. But the accountability still remains that they will still appear before God. Every soul. And that's why the Bible says the soul that sinneth. It doesn't say the spirit that sinneth. It doesn't say the flesh that sinneth. But the soul that sinneth shall die.
You know, I read this book years ago, and it was so scary to me. I remember reading it. It was a doctor, I don't remember the name of it. It was a doctor who wrote about the occult world.
Okay.
And it was, she spoke about calling down angels and what they used to do about calling down angels and sending angels to do devious things. And do you know about that?
Well, I won't say angels. Okay, they are fallen angels, but they are demons. I mean, those in the occult will not have the authority to call down angels of God.
Okay.
But they can call down, they can invoke demons, and they can send them to do many things they want.
So they appear to you as angels.
That's right.
But they're not.
They're
You're
not.
saying, yeah, this resonates with you. What?
Yeah, I remember a particular time I went to visit my mother before I even lived with her. And as I entered the house, she tell me that she said 3 person with me coming in. And it was true because I used to have 3 spirits that follow me everywhere that I go. But those 3 spirits, it come from the man that I was working with.
So they were evil spirits?
Yeah.
When I saw Mr. Smith, the first time he came to see me in the office, I shook his hand And when I felt some strange power in the hands. The two hands were soaked with evil powers.
Okay.
So much that I believe whatever he wants to do with those powers in his hands are manifested. So during the time we were praying for him, we have to destroy the powers in his hands. They are so powerful.
You have to hold it, squeeze it?
Yeah, we have to hold it. We have to... you see, the Bible says that the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow. So we know using the name of Jesus, we can break those powers. And it was done. And because he was willing, so it was so easy. But his powers in his hands were so strong.
When you were praying for him, did you see him go through any... Well, you speak about exorcism, when you exorcise a demon. Did you see his body go through any convulsions? Was there any noticeable changes? Or did he just...
Well, basically, during the time of prayer, his body was shaking powerfully. And then was sweating profusely. And later on, you know, we realized that his appearance, in terms of... it was more relaxed after prayers. It was like a man who has been in the war before and now at home, relaxed. And he felt, you know, that kind of peace in his heart. He doesn't feel that kind of guiltiness and just trying to devour. No.
So one session of prayers helped this, or was it a series of sessions?
About 2 times,
okay.
You know.
On that note, we're going to take a break. Stay with us. We're speaking about the occult world and cults in Jamaica and globally. Come on back.
Welcome back to Our Voices, and we're having a very unusual discussion today. For me and Lisa, that is, and for the people who out there really don't understand. Paul was just telling Lisa and myself something very, to us,
weird.
Weird, and I'm sitting here, but I'm not believing it, okay? Because that's just not my beliefs. What is spirit? What do you mean by that?
What is spirit?
Yeah.
Well, you are given an example.
Yes, tell us.
Yeah, normally it would look like the water shaped like a man, like something would come out. Yeah, like you'd watch a movie with River Maid, but I wouldn't sit down here. I just see the body part come up out of the water, and it's crystal clear. And he has tall hair, and he was doing something like this and
calling.
Like calling me, and I couldn't resist. I was going, but it was me and my friend. So while he was running back to me, I hear this blush, and he said, "What is that? A big fish?" And I said, "No, man, it's powers, man."
What touched you? At what point did you say, "Listen, I am going to give this up, and I need to seek help"?
Well, really, in myself, when I see things that happen in the occult world, it was God himself who take me from there with prayers from Bishop and my mother, because my mother kept going to Bishop and telling him that his son is in a deep mess. And they pray for me and prayer answer. I remember I was supposed to do a sacrifice with a baby, take parts from the baby.
That's for money, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, to get rich.
Yeah, to get rich, you take a baby, you cut the babies, and then take out some parts. Some parts.
So you kill, this baby would have been killed?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
this happens here?
Oh, yeah.
Whose baby this would have been?
Normally, it would be anybody's baby.
You just go take a baby?
Just take a baby.
Oh, Jesus.
So I remember while he said it to me, I was coming up and I heard like a voice said to me, what it profits a man to gain the world and lose his soul.
Praise God.
So it keep bothering me, and I said to him, I said to him that I hear this voice, and he said, maybe that is the spirit of God, man. That's what he said to me. But he said, if I don't want to do that, I can do a next thing by going to a grave and take off the skull of a dead man. He did want me to do that so bad that he actually tell me where a cemetery is, where a grave burst open, where I could go there, but you have to take off the skull certain way.
And in the night?
Yeah, and you'd have to use rum, but you'd have to know the person name too. And you'd have to take off that skull a certain way, but what he was going to do with that skull now is to drink rum from it. So that spirit of that person
would come into you.
Yeah.
All right, so basically what you're saying is that the Lord touched you.
Yeah, prayer.
And answered your prayers, and fortunately Bishop was here, who understood what you were going through to help you come out of it.
I want to ask the Bishop, he said something about water spirit being, what is
water
very dangerous?
Are demons that actually reside inside of water. You will hear us saying that you could see the side part, but not because most time the down part is fish, like mermaid. So you have the body part and the fish part, and sometimes it's very fearful.
You've seen them? You've seen them?
Oh yeah. Okay. Somebody came who told us that something came to him and said, "Come to the river in Savlama," and he went to the river about 4:30 in the morning, and he saw this figure came out of the water. The first part was human, the second was fish. He took him and he baptized him 3 times. And after baptizing him 3 times, he placed him back on the land and gave him some power in his hands. Now he came to our office, and he said he wants to demonstrate some of his powers. He looked at the light and he just struck, and the light went off. And then he struck it again, and the light came back. And he said, if he wants to stop vehicles or anything, it's very easy for him. Again, we have to pray for him to destroy the power that has been given to him by this water spirit. They cause all kinds of evil. And because of the fact that we're in an island surrounded by water, water spirit is very common in Jamaica.
This is why, from very small, Lisa, we heard of mermaids.
Right.
So actually somebody did see these things.
That's right.
Oh my God.
That's right.
Well, believe kill and believe cure, you know.
Well, definitely.
So,
I mean,
hi.
What would it take for somebody
wow, you're coming in with your grip,
who are just walking about
You are just
their
walking
business?
about, but they might not accept the demons actually.
Welcome to our voices. This is Mr. Rudolph Walcott. Come and sit down. He's an expert on cults.
Okay.
C-U-L-T-S, not O-C-C-U-L-T-S.
How are you, sir?
All right. Can we get you something to drink? A glass of water. Just water, Mr. Walcott? Okay.
We've been having a very interesting discussion, and I want to ask you, what is a cult?
In terms of, well, I haven't heard your discussion on what you're having before, but a cult, by definition, as you know, definition is what one would use to standardize things. For example, by definition, whatever is 2 pi r is a circle. You know, those who understand mathematics. Now, according to Webster's 3rd New International Dictionary, he gives 6 specific definitions pertaining to a cult. It says, 1, it could be a religious practice, that is worship, a system of belief and ritual connected with worship of a deity or a spirit or a group of deities. 3, the rite, ceremonies, and practice of a religious cult, such as Roman Catholic, involving ceremonial paid to God, the Virgin Mary, or the saints. 4, a religion regarded as unorthodox, as surrounded, or false. A system for curing disease, body, or dogma, or principles set forth to the exclusion of scientific evidence. And 6, the exclusive devotion to a person, an idea, or a thing. Now, this definition varies because a cult then could be actually any religious group, just by definition.
Okay.
But when defining a cult, one must understand that every major religion also has cult groups in them. For example, Islam. The Nation of Islam would say that the black Muslim are a cult of Islam. So within Christianity, we would define a cult now as an offshoot of a Christian church, basically. Now, in order to get a better understanding, let me go back to 86 years ago. 86 years ago, this book came out, Heresies Exposed, right? It was published in 1917, and this author listed 25 groups he considers a cult. And just by naming them, so we don't offend anyone, and we're going to ask the reason probably why he did it. 1, he has Christadelphians, Christian Science, Freemasonry, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventist, Unitarian, the Unity School of Christianity.
These are cults?
Occult is definition.
Okay,
right?
And this is 86 years
From
ago.
86 years ago. I mean,
when a lot of these churches have gone on to do significant things.
Okay, right.
I really want to ask you, there seems to be a disconnect and a misunderstanding between cults, which you are an expert on, which is C-U-L-T-S, and the occult, which is what Bishop and Paul know more about, which is O-C-C-U-L-T-S. And you've listed a number of things. Now, clearly, you're talking about churches, established churches.
He's talking about cults.
No, I know he's talking about churches, but just to be very clear, cults for you are established churches and probably an offshoot of established churches.
According to the definition that
but
fits,
Christian or religious practices?
Or religious, right.
Okay, nothing relating to satanic worship?
No.
Okay.
But you will realize that somewhere they're going to meet somewhere.
That's right.
Because the occult is usually dealing with the unseen world out there, power, you know, and so forth. While the cult, for example, in 2 Corinthians 11, it says that Satan can transform himself in an angel of light. And do not be marveled, because his ministers can be transformed as angels of righteousness. Okay. So therefore, even within the Christian church, one has to be very careful who says what and how.
I want to know, are cults bad? On that note, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back from Our Voices.
Welcome back to Our Voices. We're discussing the occult and cults in Jamaica and globally. And we have with us Bishop Addy Gold, Paul Smith, and Rudolph Walcott. Carlene, you wanted to ask Mr. Walcott a question?
I want to know, is a cult a dangerous thing here in Jamaica? Is it dangerous to our society, to our children, to people who don't understand? Should just tell me.
Okay. We have to go according to our experience in terms of history. Now, everybody can remember Jim Jones' situation.
Right.
Now, one would see, before Jim Jones went to Guyana and did what he did, he was a good, one would call, religious group, doing everything that was fine, until he started to see himself as the Messiah, the only person who can interpret the Bible, things like those. So to answer the question, is a cult good or bad, it could be answered both ways, yes and no. It depends on your guidelines. For example, we as Christians believe that the central yardstick to judge anything is Jesus Christ, and Christianity is the way, the truth, and the life. Scripture says clearly that if one denounces, Jesus Christ said this, no man can come to the Father but by me. No. A church will tell you, you can only be saved if you come to my church. So there are things you can look out for. Any group or person that tells you that the only way you can be saved unless you come to this church, watch out for that person. Because you're only saved by accepting Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. 1 Corinthians 12:13 says you are baptized into the body of Christ. So no organization nor no individual person can hold you at ransom as to your salvation. It's a personal thing between you and Jesus Christ. Okay. So any group has a guideline that tells you that their pastor or their church is the only group that can interpret the Bible correctly. That is a cultic group also.
Can you give me or tell me a sign to look for from someone who or somebody or people or group or whatever who are signs of a cult?
All right. Now, as you might understand, there's no mark that a person goes on. But sometimes in certain groups, you are conformed to wear certain things. For example, there's certain churches in Jamaica that you could not wear a pants in it. They will say it is sin. And they will have rules and regulations that would probably drive you into hell more than get into heaven. So there are basic things you have to look out for in terms of your intelligence, or you read, question things. Your child might be coming from school one day and say, boy, she's not going to school anymore. It don't make sense to study because the world is coming to an end soon. No, you will read in some of these articles that Jehovah's Witness in 1914 and 1975 set dates that the world is going to come to an end. So most people at that time who was in the organization stop work, stop going to school because they said the world is coming to an end. So you will find change in their behavior, their pattern, how they think, and
right, because it's a cult and mind control.
It's also mind control.
I think I want to say emphatically that cult is not good. It doesn't really need to be whether it's good or not. It's not good. One of the things you should look for is, one, in a Christian religion, where the focus is on the pastor or an individual and not on Christ, then there is a tendency that the group is going towards occultism. Two, watch the rituals that they do in that church. there are some specific rituals that are very questionable in terms of the use of some elements, like some water thing, like some blood, like some spirit kind of thing where they pour. Once they are doing that, they are moving towards cultic practices in terms of religious cults. Another thing you should look for is some of the rules and the regulations. Like somebody called me from Spanish Town. Her church said to her, don't go to your mother again. Your mother is evil, your mother is bad, your mother is this, so do not visit your mother. A church that is teaching somebody not to go back home is actually becoming cultic.
Or not to visit any other churches.
Or not to, right.
Right. How do a person join a cult, though? Or is it that the cults come looking for them? Or, tell me.
A lot of things can happen. For example, you might be at a low situation in your life. Someone knock at the door and say, oh, you like to be happy in this life, to come and right there and then. So people don't really go join cults, because they're out there proselytizing. There are people actually go out there and witness. So usually they don't go to a church and say, I want to join this church. Cults are usually out there trying. For example, the Mormons are classified as cults according to some religious experts. And Jehovah's Witnesses. So these guys are out there 2x2 on their bicycles talking to people, right? And trying to get them into it. And it's usually a mind thing, because one sign of a cult control is information control. You can't read certain books. You can't celebrate Christmas nor birthday to keep away from your family. So there are a number of things. Jesus.
That's why sometimes
there are a number of things that they can use to control people's
hold on,
mind.
Carlene, but let me ask you a question. You speak about rituals. One of the rituals in the Bible, and certainly, is breaking bread and taking Holy Communion and burning incense and drinking wine, the body and blood of Christ. Is that a cult? Is that a part of cultic behavior?
That was why I said one has to be careful in terms of questionable rituals. The communion is a very clear indications from the scriptures. Practice this. Jesus said, do this in remembrance of me. However, going to some of the churches that do communion, you see the kind of bread they serve, and then sometimes they use some kind of spirit and blood with the drink. That is occultic. Okay,
I hear you.
That is occultic.
How do I know the difference then? For instance, not me, but someone who is out there who does not understand, and they're willing to accept Christianity, meaning the way to Christ, the way to Jesus. How this person is vulnerable to all of this, occultic cults. What should you say to them? Hey, this is the story.
All right, as you put it, you're talking probably, you just sit at individual. Christians are commanded in the book of Acts and Matthew 28 to go out there and witness to people about Jesus Christ. Just like the Muslim go out there witness to people about Muhammad, right? So we're talking as a Christian. Right. We're to witness. So therefore, as the scriptures warn, there will be many false prophets. So it's, in a sense, there's no real control or any real sign, because a cult could come to you who know nothing about Jesus Christ and you believe his story. So I cannot really give you an answer and tell you that if this person comes, because if you're not a Christian, basically, you'll probably fall for anything. That sounds good.
But what happens if a Christian come to me and say, and you're saying to me, cults come to you. What happens if a real Christian should not come to you? A real Christian, and we use the word real in terms of absolute, who would actually understand certain basic. For example, if that person comes to you and acknowledge the deity of Jesus Christ, that is God manifest in the flesh, and not an angel, not a created man, not just a honor, a prophet, then right away you can stand grow with him. Because two signs I usually use. One, who is Jesus Christ? He asks the question, who do men say that I am? Some say you're Elijah the prophet, some say you're this, some say you're that. We believe, according to John 1 verse 1, that is God manifest in the flesh. And that is one of the signs we use to distinguish any group that would have cultic understanding. Because you ask the question, who do you say Jesus Christ is?
Were you ever in a cultic religion?
No, but I was in a church that one could say had cultic overflow that would cause me to lose my eternal destiny. In other words, I believe what they believe, and if I had died believing I was a Christian, which I was not at the time, then I would certainly go into a place where many people don't want to go.
Which church is that?
I don't not say.
Let me ask you another question. There has been a preponderance, or a lot of young people have been joining a lot of churches in Jamaica. There's been a upsurge of young Christians in Jamaica, joining some very, you know, fun churches. And when you speak to them, these are serious Christian young people.
That's what I believe.
I'm asking you the question, and I'm asking Bishop the question. Are some of these young people in cults and not really sure that they are...
Well, a lot of
and are they in danger who are in this thing?
There is this whole notion of seeking for God. They want to know more about God. And in doing this, they might go into a wrong group, which they believe it's good. I think I would really want us to go a little further. Not just somebody saying Jesus is Lord. Not just somebody saying Jesus is the Son of God. There is a whole lot of deception outside there. I would prefer to say, okay, give me the beliefs. I want you, anybody who goes to any church, try to know the beliefs, get their doctrines, examine it.
Of the church?
Of the church.
Okay.
Try to find out. A lot of these young people, they are looking for a church where they have, you know, sports, they have all of these things, and you know, they are providing for their needs. Like, for example, the Mormon church pay rents for some of their members. And those who really want to pay their rent and they don't have the money, they go to the Mormon church, not because they want to become a Mormon member, but because of some kind of need. And so it pushes them to go and join a group. And that is what a lot of these cults do. They provide. And don't get me wrong, it's not every church that provides, that actually is cultic in nature. But the majority of the cultic church actually provide. Where is the money coming from? I don't know. But they have a lot of money to provide and to be able to get these people to come to them. And that's why a lot of the young people go to the University of the West Indies. I've been there, University of Technology. A lot of students are now in cults. Simply because they are looking for some kind of help, and unfortunately, some rituals are taking place right on the campus.
Quickly, because no time is going. How to detect cults? No, the church has to teach people. The church is lacking today in teaching their members, right, about how to detect cults. One, you could ask, very important question, asking, for example, how long have your movement been around? Is there anybody who criticizes this movement? Give me the names of a couple of books I can read. Usually, if they have some spurious history, they will not want to read about them. You ask about their leaders. You ask things like, what is their background? What are the qualifications of his ministers? So a person can just come up and say he's a minister and that's it without any
exactly. And that has
been
happening.
We were just thinking about it, you know.
It's been happening.
Attend then a church
so
and then pastor.
It's up to you to question, because it's a soul that is at stake, you know. And each soul is very important to God. And you have a brain for you to ask questions. Even in Jehovah's Witness, I can show you articles where they are forbidden to question the organization on matters of blood transfusion and things like this. This is in print. So it's, in a sense, you need to study, you need to ask questions, and you don't just sit back and just give it the pass and say hallelujah, and you go home. You go to a service and you appear nice for 2 hours. You ask, what did you learn at church today? All I know is I say praise the Lord every minute. No solid teaching.
Well, thank you for that. Any last words, Bishop?
Well, I just don't want people, the public, especially those that are watching this program now, to become so fearful and say, you know, that's why I don't even want to go to any church at all. Because it's always like that when you talk about cult and say, look, man, I just forget everything about church. Please don't do that. Okay. Because the reality is that God didn't promise us that we are not going to have this confusion. And the fact that there are all kinds of problems in the world doesn't mean that the truth is not there. All we need to do is to search for the truth.
Paul, what would you say to young people who are out there who are in occult, the occultic practice?
Or want to be.
Or want to be, or in occult. What would you say to them now?
Well, I would say to them that it is not good. And the best way in life is to really accept Jesus Christ as a personal Lord and Savior to all young people who are out there. Right.
All right. On that note, we've come to the end of another interesting discussion here on Our Voices. We want to thank all our guests and to say to all of you out there that yes, there'll always be some confusion in cultic practices or the occult. And, you know, just do your background checks of your church. if you're going into church, and if you're going into a practice that you're not very, very clear about, do some research on it and do some background checks on that as well. Carlene? And
sometimes just let the inner you feel and express that feeling, because as I say, Lisa, God, He's in you. Let Him come out. Bye until next week.
Take care. Have a good week. I tell you.
So you on a bird or a void or trying to correct all of these?
Question number what? Question number 2. Also, you weren't supposed to have sex before marriage.
Exactly. From a Christian point of view. Notice every time I'm speaking, I say from a Christian point of view.
Okay.
Because my standard of living is Christianity, and there are certain guidelines in the scriptures that